It was like licking someone's pus-filled wound with with uh like resealant that had been salted. That stuff is actually just veins. It's not food. It's horrible. It feels diseased.
And you know what? Most Americans don't even realize that they lack nutrition. They just keep eating.
I don't think most Americans realize, period, because their minds have just been brutally destroyed.
No, like some Americans, like us, you at least notice that your body is suffering from the garbage that you eat, and you want to eat something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them just absorb that like it's nothing. They just absorb the veins. Yeah, that was the other impressive sequence was trying to drink the small milkshake from what was it? Jack in the
McDonald's.
Box.
Whatever.
Jack in the Box. Getting halfway through it because I was sweating cold because of how much sugar it was.
Got
Just
Bane's.
yeah, sitting in my chair, sleepy, just being like, "This is too much sugar. This is actually too much sugar." And then seeing Christian pull the large one out of the box, take what was left of my small one, and then pour it into his before drinking the entire thing in one go. It was, yeah, he ate like a kilo of syrup right there. I'm impressed you guys aren't fatter, but then again, maybe your body at some point just stops, like it's decreasing efficiencies of scale or something.
The American is the master race. No other people on the planet is more efficient at metabolizing corn.
Yeah, granted. Most people on the planet would die if you try to feed them the American diet.
Uh,
I mean, look at Mexicans. They don't even have corn sugar in their Coca-Cola, and they're all fatter than America and dying.
Americans are all more.
All of the Middle East is obese and has diabetes. They can't handle it.
Look at this dude. Look at the boomer.
Oh my god. Well, he's saying that your gift isn't. Your gift is too demanding. It could be cheaper.
What the fuck? What's going on here? It's illegal. Oh, I like his attitude. Like, oh, like most people are already maxed on study points, anyways, bro.
Well, like once you're maxed in study points, like an inevitability once you're maxed.
So, Pajit, his vampire disciplines cost current rating times 5. With this approved at .5, which it's cheap, right? It doesn't matter. By .10 of a discipline for 1 experience point.
Go ahead and type that into chat just to see what his reaction is.
Not gonna do it.
No. Broken, broken, broken. Yeah, this is like once you hit the boomer right where he usually tries to do his sauce, it's like, oh no, too expensive. Make it easier.
We
Ah,
didn't read
I see where you're coming from. You know what? This is a good idea.
In fact, make it cheaper.
Well, if you insist, boomer.
I hope he tells me to go fuck myself to add successes. To like treat melee rolls like firearms rolls. Something that's really fucking gimped. See, our current rating times 3 is too low. We need to go lower. How often will Pajit be holding on to 20 or more SP? You know, we just automatically assume that you have 20 SP or more. Because doesn't everybody?
Gonna fucking roll like what 60 XP points per turn.
Like,
Yeah, just become the XP monster.
he didn't explicitly tell me to go fuck myself, but he just ignored me completely to go straight to, someone trying to abuse study points. I need to prove that.
Oh, not too busy dying in Iraq now. No, an immediate response. Study points. Yeah, that took him what? That took him all of 18 minutes.
He tells the entire base to stop operations. Hold on, someone's trying to abuse study points. I need to tell them that they're not abusing it enough.
One approval, 18 minutes.
Not only did they approve it, they lowered the current rating times by 2. That he is not even going to acknowledge me, where I just want to add successes from an attack roll to the damage roll.
Well, to be fair, that's already approved.
Well, I never saw it.
Oh, he just PM'd me.
This gets tastier.
We almost need to have like a secret tabletop area as like our war room to plot against the boomers.
An extra server.
Well, that's what this is, because Christian doesn't care.
He does read this. Did you see he read me and TM talking to each other about how to ruin the setting for the boomers? And he went on that tangent.
Well, there's always the Dead Horse Society.
Here's the thing, he reads it. He reads it, but he is too low energy to do anything about it ever or communicate any of it.
But Dylan is his surrogate daddy, who he needs to tell everything.
Yeah, his literal self-admitted. Oh boy, that DHS. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Why not?
I also have another server called Schizo Shitzo just because I like the alliteration there. Rhyme.
Good job. Where's my personal? I just called my personal server storage.
Um,
Yeah, there we go. I've got it right under Autismo Limbo so that I can use it. Those fucking channel names are pretty good.
Look at all these online fags.
I need to tell everyone that I'm interfacing. Just make another category for tabletop and have that. Oh, you do have the dice bot. I just like
buried horses
buried horses.
and lame horses. It's fucking. It's just been schizo posting alone in here.
Well, I've been here too.
Oh wait, I can make. Okay, I'll make a category then.
Well, this is good. This is already like the deep umbra. You're in space over here. Oh boy, walls of emojis.
Put it in a category. Like we need our war room needs to be isolated. War room. There it is. Shut up, faggot. It's war room.
Let's call it
I
war.
hope
Compromise on war
Tony goes
horses.
easy on this character.
War horse. That's a good
Yes.
one.
War horses.
'Cause,
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
I want to get at least one character to a level where it can join in the void ship fun.
Yeah, I actually I should have done more to let you guys get out of that hospital. Like I was probably a little too brutal relying on you to figure that out that you could do that.
That's all right. It's a learning experience.
Yeah, just make whatever character you want and you just have to meet Irwin, become a Fomor or not. Or just be in that area whenever we move to the ship.
Yeah, I'll be the Imperial Navy guys in 40K. I think I have a picture.
Imperial Guard.
Not the guard. There's
No, he wants to be the fleet admiral.
no, wait, it's I just
Rogue.
like how these guys look. These are the fleet crew in
Oh,
40K.
no, oh shit! I've never seen them before.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I'd be up for having the Fomor retinue look like that.
I just like that they look like they're wearing dive suits, but they're in space. I think it's pretty nice.
It's a
Um,
good aesthetic. Very good aesthetic.
Like dive suits are. I just like dive suits, like the old dive suits. The big metal dome.
Well, Meiju, Frenchie's character, already has blueprints to build power armor, so we can actually spam that shit. We can spam.
Nice.
We can spam 10, like power armor that soaks 10.
Also, I was looking for ideas for a GIF, and I saw this on the Lexiconum.
You know,
What
like
does your character sheet look like? Did you repost that?
whose character sheet?
Oh, mine?
Yep.
Yeah, let me get it.
Oh boy, getting Warhammer 40k gift. It's pretty big brained.
You know, I pitched the Obliterator virus, and that would get approved. Like just the Obliterator virus, copy pasted from the wiki. And we can be
That'd be a bit
femori.
much.
We'll be
Obliterator
femori that
virus
eat
is
guns.
scary.
Yeah, you can eat a gun and then replicate it in your body. Get rich, professional thief.
Yeah, the descriptions are, yeah.
See what you can do exactly. You're a melee kind of guy in firearms. Pretty average combat character. Pretty average stats. You have.
Like, his whole thing was supposed to be, because the highest one he has is Ledger Domain, because he's supposed to
Yeah, that's
break
good.
shit.
Lock
Yeah.
picking and pickpocketing or putting things in people's pockets.
Like a bomb. Like
Yeah.
a grenade.
That's happened before.
It's a bomb.
Also, I was looking at,
Oh.
disciplines, I forgot what it was called, it was, shit.
Now, I'm actually glad that I dozed off in that game and forgot to execute both of your characters for trying to nuke Memphis.
You absolutely should have had like conviction rolls or something there.
Like
Obtenebration,
no.
that's it.
I actually,
Obtenebration.
I for some reason dozed off in real life, or I would have like executed them both as soon as they stepped out of the car. But I'm glad I didn't. We need to. I want to capture the NWO operative.
I was looking at the Obtenebration discipline,
Yeah.
and at 3 dots, it gets Arms of the Abyss, which summon black tentacles to assist you from the shadows. I don't know what that means, because I don't have the vampire manual with me right now, but
It doesn't say what they do.
it just says summon black tentacles from the shadow. I don't know. Yeah, give me a sec, because I have it saved on a different device. PDF for it. Actually, I don't even think. No, this one was the. Yeah, this was the one that Obtenebration. All the info for it is in the other vampire books. Like, it's not in the first or second edition. It's in revised Dark Ages.
It's
And
in the one you're told to read.
which one?
Revised.
Vampire Core. It probably is revised. I think that's the main
I
one.
use 20th anniversary
Oh,
because it's like 200 pages longer.
no, never mind. I guess
20th anniversary is the
download
most
that
recent
one.
version. This is just a fucking disgusting study point avenue that's been opened.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely am just going to make another character that's centered only around study points.
So wait. So multiply your study point. So are you still limited by how much you can hold?
You are still limited. Let's say you have dot 1 of this background. No change. Dot 2. Assume you got willpower 10. You can now hold 20 study points. Dot 3.
Oh,
You can now hold 30 study points.
all right.
Get a gift to uncap it. You can hold 80 study points.
It's it's 80 XP to just spend on random shit.
Pajit can become Kane, if not stronger.
New priorities. This, the ultra cram or whatever it is, and then reduce generation at all costs.
So, question, how exactly does the ultimate study point build look like?
Well, it looks like this. Willpower 10. Your character starts out with an with a laboratory at dot 4, and all the learning things too. Get apt pupil, get mad scientist at start. Willpower 10. Then as a gift, bump that laboratory up to dot 5 and turn it into a cult. You're going to be averaging 2.5 study points of downtime. So what you do then is get that cramming gift from the RD manual.
Hold up, why not just start with Laboratory 5?
Because if you start at Laboratory 5, it's just a mundane laboratory. And spending a gift to turn it into an occult laboratory that you can spend points on occult things doesn't give you another dot. If you
Fair
do
enough.
it from 4, it does give you another dot. And ideally, you win your first game, and that's your first gift. And then you have a downtime.
Hmm. And then now that it's an occult laboratory, you can spend the study points on what exactly?
You can spend the study points on abilities and then like paths that you get primarily.
Paths. So any discipline, really.
Yes.
Is there nothing you can spend on backgrounds?
Not that I'm aware of. Internal backgrounds, I would say do it and nobody looks too closely. External backgrounds, contacts, that kind of thing, no.
I see. I see. I see skies of blue.
So, like,
I see.
follow the spirit of the rules, but not the letter, because the letter's gay.
Your mom gay, lol.
Based.
Got him.
So study points are functionally fucking useless, actually, unless you're a path monster.
Yes.
How disappointing.
Unless you invest significantly into them or luck into them, they're not useful. Like, I was not intending to do anything with these magic rocks. They were designed as something to dab on Kyler with. And then I got the bright idea once they practically fell into my lap. What if I just get gifts to reduce the difficulty of the willpower roll?
Mm-hmm. And then it became broken again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a riveting story.
Kyler raping you with those vampires was the best thing to happen.
To be fair, that wasn't even Kyler.
No, on Kyler's game, Winnie originally just wanted Pajit to be a Fomor, but Kyler made vampires embrace him instead, and then he became a Fomor anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And they were Ravnos, which is a better vampire,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know what they are actually.
They're actually the best clan I could have wished for. They get the best discipline, and the antediluvian is actually dead.
Yeah, that's true. I would have gone Malkavian as the best, but whatever. Is being able to literally access the Madness Network would be entertaining. Especially if you get Ask Sex 5 or more. I think there's like a .7 in there that lets you interact with the Madness Network directly.
That's my go-to plan for killing an antediluvian. Just eat everybody who has dementation.
And then what?
And then that's gonna be the antediluvian.
Oh. That's going to be tricky. There's a
Yeah,
couple in Konu literally trapped by the devil in a castle that have dementation.
I'm not too scared of the devil. Hopefully, and this is a gamble, but hopefully once I get dementation, it gets the ball rolling and I can hunt down people who have it by
.7
using
and
it.
you can feel where everybody with dementation is,
Well, there you go.
essentially, because it's the Madness Network. It's a network.
It's not built for a hacker. Or I guess hacker's not a good word. Not built for a Trojan. There we go.
I love that the tech priests are literally going to operate like the Mechanicus, where if you say you'll give them an STC fragment, they'll do it for any job.
Yeah, no. I've got some future tech.
They should be able to find some future tech. That will that would be fucking. It's so fucking Kano to actually be able to play as tech priests. You're walking around with another tech priest on a game, and you both see like a machine that can be broken down, and you see some future tech, and you both just stop and like obsessively try to take it out.
Yeah, study's gay. Like you could cheese it, but it's just so fucking cancerous. Such a cancer-ridden cancer pit.
What is?
Study
Mm,
and everything fucking associated with that.
the thing to do. Get to the point where you don't have to spend XP on things.
The fuck does that even mean?
Well, vicissitude 6. Steal other people's body mass to bump up your physical attributes. Let's see. Also, bumps up your appearance. You get brain eating to justify spending study points on mental attributes.
So you just become nommer. Nom 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 nom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's entertaining. Yeah, I'm looking at thaumaturgy again, and the biothaumaturgy part looks interesting too.
Biothaumaturgy is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think dot 5 of that lets you spend a blood point and magic up a blood bag.
It's a bit broken.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you can make people, so that's something.
Who runs a game next?
I could run a game.
What gift level?
What gift level? Fucking just tell me what, and then I'll figure it out.
I mean, if you're
What gift
the,
level you fuckers need?
you're the next dude, I would prefer Ratman at gift 4. He is within 5 gifts of Meiju. 5, 6. I guess Meiju probably 7 or 8.
Oh no, Meiju's higher than that.
It's fucking when.
Um,
He told me he was like 8 or 9. I counted it up and I said, whatever the fuck it was, it's exactly 5 away from Ratman.
I guess maybe I was wrong.
I know we're within the 5 range. Not that we should even give a shit about that. Because they don't. They only care when we do it. Like we should fucking take like Franklin's character, whatever character Franklin gets. 0 gift, 1 gift.
I wouldn't want to do that because that's not fun for the 0 gift, 1 gift person.
And to be fair, Goat and Franklin are not very initiative. Or I kind of want them to be at the center and be targeted at times.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if you were playing with higher gift characters, like probably fade into the background, it's just kind of tag along.
I would want to be more direct, but at the same time, I feel like being too direct is usually would cause, yeah, I don't know. It's like
It's just
like the consequences in the house game format. It's like a lot more detrimental, I guess.
The solution is not going to fall into your lap.
Yeah, no, I know.
you have to do crazy. You have to treat it like it's the real world, and you have to do crazy shit sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
blowing up the second story of a house.
I legitimately have to talk to TM or Winnie like I'm smooth talking the police, the FBI, 911 operators. Like I'm actually there making shit up on the spot. And I actually do succeed. Like whenever the operative got called out, that that the when he said he was with the FBI, I had to just make shit up on the spot. Like, oh yeah, we've been following this bomb across the border. That's why we didn't call ahead. You just have to do shit like that. Like, me and Winnie played on TM's game, and neither of us had powers, and we had to infiltrate an active office building during a party and hang the boss from with his own tie from the ceiling.
Best part, neither of us met up until the last 20 minutes of the game.
And all my character did was tell Winnie's character that his idea was a bad idea and to just watch the door while he uses his brute strength to. Like I actually walked in there and I used sports talk to smooth talk the boss into walking next to him looking at a picture of football or golf, and then I started choking him out, and once he was down, I had to use my brute strength. I was to hang him from the fucking ceiling, which is a feat in itself if you try to do that in real life. Try to hang an overweight adult from a ceiling with his tie. Like TM was actually forcing me to do the mental gymnastics to explain all of that.
You just reminded me that I ran that game. That I still have the GMXP. I forgot.
Like, I mean, that game was
I
really
have been thinking that Winnie ran that game for at
No.
least a couple months now.
like that. That was
No.
legitimately a good game where I was like, "This is fucking impossible. This we literally can't do this." And my character was in character, pacing back and forth for like half an hour, trying to figure out something.
That was a tense game. I loved it.
It was an excellent game.
The king of Steak and Shake.
We need more games like that where it's
I remember the game now. It starts off with these two numbnuts getting taken on a tour. You won a tour of the Steak and Shake around the country, and you get to go to the biggest Steak and Shake. I think it was in Jacksonville.
mm-hmm.
So they're in Jacksonville next to a Steak and Shake. Their target is to go to an office which is in walking distance, to find the boss, and to suicide him. It's not that hard. Sure, they don't have gifts. But I remember distinctly them having ID cards, I think you had.
like a whole ID
you were
badge thing.
invited. Yeah, you had the ID badges. You need to walk in, find the boss, kill him, walk out. But the anxiety
Yeah,
of having no gifts and having to do that without getting caught was so tremendous that for 5 hours it was nothing but walking around the office and insanity and them splitting up. That was the best part.
we could not find each other for the entire
While
game.
Winnie was talking to HR, the other fucker was bench pressing.
I went to the gym. I couldn't think of what to do, so my logic was I'm going to go deadlift in the gym until I think of something.
Like half of the game, half of what I did was just ride the bus to Home Depot for power tools so I could break into the target's house.
And while he was doing that, I was deadlifting and walking around the office. Like, you have to talk to the NPCs like they're real. And like your character. That's the key.
Yeah.
And you also I do fucking pull out of character competency a lot. Like my guy was an actual like jock retard. And I was just like doing this absolutely manipulative smooth talking that if I had to roll for it he would have failed.
Well, that's part of the thing, right? Role play, so you don't have to roll.
Yeah, but you should not be a fucking suave smooth talker.
Well,
But then
you
again,
should
he
also
had
role play the character.
he was also appearance 5 with strength 5 and he was talking to a woman. Like TM was making it easier on me to talk
Just
to
smooth
women.
talk nothing. You walked into HR. You went to the lady and you said, "I'm supposed to be here," and she said, "Okay, come back at 5."
No, like you legitimately were saying she was like flustered and shit because he was a very attractive buff dude.
Oh, because you flirted with her on purpose. I remember that.
Yeah. I was like, that's the fucking point of that character is
Yeah, to be fair, if you try to flirt, roll appearance. Nothing else actually
you should
matters.
lower the difficulty by your appearance. I actually think you should.
Lower. Yeah, in some roles you could probably say, yeah, you essentially substitute appearance for any other social stat. That's how it works. That's what it's there for.
Mm-hmm.
Like if a dude is strength 5 and appearance 5 and he's like 7 feet tall, I demand some fucking bonus when talking to women.
7 feet tall.
I don't remember how fucking tall he was. He was tall though.
I remember he was bench pressing like 200 pounds in the office gym where like old people were stopping their shit dog to watch a guy do an Olympic lift in front of them.
Yeah, and then he did the deadlift, and then he just slams the weights onto the ground and walks out. Well, I think he re-racked because he is a martial artist who had a dojo, so he had that courtesy. And I actually hate that that character got fucked over a little bit because I like I had to really think outside the box to figure out how a corn berserker could exist in the modern world. I basically just gave him Brock Sampson's origin story where he killed a football player teammate, and then he just said fuck this to life, and he went and became an MMA fighter in California.
I completely forgot I had run that game. Completely. And I should check Cusco's sheet, but I think I didn't even spend the GMXP on that because I didn't think I had run that game. Railed arrangements. King of Steak and Shake. He should be back.
No. We don't even necessarily need artifacts on games. You just need to have the tech priests find shit that they want to build, and so they can steal it. Like if you give them if you have them find like the blueprints or an actual like cyber tentacle, they will fucking steal that shit and spam it. They'll have the back tentacles like actual tech priests. Because that's pretty much the point. The point of the Australian space pirates is they always send the players to do something extraterrestrial, and in both times it ended up with them finding an artifact.
I don't know how they do artifacts. I don't know how that would work.
Or I'll post my artifacts that are in circulation. The Black Blade, that's approved. The only thing about it is Christian's character's retainer is the one who has it, and no one knows about him, and that he has it. So if someone goes into the Australian outback and finds a pig man, they can kill him and take a sword capable of ending the world.
And that's not that strong.
Well, what was it? A while ago, somebody was talking about gun that just deletes concepts.
Yeah, 2 games, 20 XP.
Oh
10
yeah,
more XP.
Hammer of the Smith Lord gives you 1 study point for crafting. Every downtime.
Just get gifts that give you study points for specific things that you specifically want.
Collect artifacts that give you study points. Yeah, I'll run a game, and then I'll make an artifact called the Orb of Study Points.
The orb is steady points. Document, delete. Rename.
I had another artifact ready where it was going to be an eye that locates other artifacts, so that we could find Christian's fucking retainer, kill him, and take the sword.
Take the sword.
He has a nobody character sitting on something that could eventually kill Gaia with one slash.
Hack and slash.
I have to go.
Goodbye.
See you guys.
Damn.
Yep.
Abilities are current rating times 2.
Yes.
Hmm. Okay, good to know. So I would need. Yeah, I'm gonna check in with the boomers to try to make a Valorant character. Just eventually get Valorant 10 and start resurrecting people.
Yeah, and so if Erwin dies, but we're on the spaceship, just resurrect him and he can keep custom procreating us. We will still have a guy that custom procreates us. Because we need that on standby for engineering.
Valeren. Find in page. Oh, for fuck's sake. Fire a beam of sunlight from your third eye. What a curious discipline this is.
What the fuck? What level is that?
I think it's Valorant 4, Auspex 4. Shoot beams of sunlight from your face.
You need to get that shit, and then we can just walk over and insta-kill those vampires the boomer spawned. You just
Wait,
see
say that again?
You could use that to insta-kill those fucking vampires the boomer spawned to fuck Pajit over.
Yeah, resurrect anyone or anything from death as long as you possess a piece of their earthly remains. Valoran 9. Auspex 5, Fortitude 3. That's a lot of dots. That's a lot of dots. Yeah, it sounds like you would want a study monster to make that work. That's like what, 5, 6, 7, 8 gifts. Nine gifts, actually. Can you raise abilities from 0 to 1, or do you need a gift for that?
Just costs 3.
3 instead of 2?
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, just 3 points.
I assume mastery is a gift.
Yes. Wait. Oh no.
Because it lowers difficulty by 1.
Yep.
Hmm. Hmm. I should run games. Get another 40 XP for Gregory, so that the next gift I get uh, immediately turns him into the sonar, and then that's it. I've got a sonar character. Done.
And or depending on how Meiju and Ratman talk to each other, Ratman might, or Meiju might get. Actually, Meiju wants to build the spaceship. Might ask for the blueprints. And then we can be building that ship. And secure that for if you want to be the sonar on it.
Maybe I'll wait till you guys manage to launch a ship.
Well, okay, so in actual
I do need another.
in the actual Schizopedia, aliens are just demons, and space is another dimension. So I take it in World of Darkness, we don't have to launch into orbit. We just umbral travel.
Yeah, that's what the boomers are gonna tell you, that you're just in the Umbra.
Right?
Space don't real.
Yeah. And so we're going to build a. I don't know if we have to build an Umbra drive separately. But scientists found diamond planets, and we don't have to do anything crazy. We just have to have the equivalent to that money amount in resources on hand. And say, yes, I have $20 trillion in diamonds in space.
Just say you do space mining and that it's enough.
Yeah.
Where does that 20 trillion price tag come from?
In the RD thing. So you have
Well,
three scales, which is size, utility, and something else, and whatever the highest one is the resource rating. And if any of those are at 10, then we have to spend $20 trillion.
$20 trillion, it's a fifth of the world's economy. You see where I'm going with this? It's just you break the world when you try to do that. We already went through it, how much fucking gold you were trying to summon.
Yeah.
Just the 3 times the world reserves.
You know, like, and there's already fucking a void engineer mining thing where they mine planets for prime or quintessence.
Yeah, you should say this. You should say that the fact that you have the ability to conjure any material in large quantities reduces the cost dramatically.
Yeah, we can
So
conjure
that
whatever material we need in the shape we need it.
yeah, and that if you need money, you just conjure gold. And that would be believable.
Right.
You don't need $20 trillion, you need $20 trillion worth of materials.
Like, we don't even need to, like, do any metal casting or anything, because we just conjure pure titanium in like the shapes of the hull and shit. I assume we need to build a warp drive, and basically I do want it to be like cost 20 trillion in the RD for every ship part. Because then that ship fucking does anything.
Yeah, the world reserves of gold is only $7.5 trillion. And gold is the only real money that exists in the world, so the rest is the technocracy's budget.
Their quintessence budget.
Yes. So you show up with 1/5 of the technocracy's budget, and you're, I'm going to cash this check, and they're going to say, no, I don't think so.
See, like, it's just, you don't necessarily have to cash or shit. You don't have to sell it to anyone. It's just like, how much does it cost to make this? And
Yeah.
seeing as we
Produce 20 trillions worth of materials, and you're fine.
we just produce the already shaped titanium using a Fomor vampire that is like 50 feet tall.
A Fomor nigger pyre.
When will this game be ran? Saturday, or I should
Sometime this
say,
week, whenever everyone's online again.
well, I have all weekend. It appears big crutch is that we need Frenchie.
I
Frenchie and
assume
me.
everyone has all weekend.
Need to ask Frenchie because this is pretty much what everything hinges on. Is our two characters meeting so that we can pull
Oh,
our
wait.
successes, gifts.
I have a character that took something called Path of the Unspoken. Path of the Unspoken allows you to talk to demons so that you can transcribe any written document that has ever been made with about 50% accuracy. If you make the right rolls.
What are you going to do with
Do you
that?
understand what that means? Well, you need blueprints, don't you?
Any written document. Is that in history
That
that
has-
has yet to exist?
Possibly. Let me find the exact screen cap.
You can talk to demons to get shit from the future. I mean, that's basically what Google is doing.
Shut the fuck up, Schizo.
Fuck up, glow nigger.
Try to find where the exact source on that is. Path of the Unspoken. Come on.
I bet
Come
you
on,
didn't
come on,
even
come
know
on.
you can use a DNS script proxy to change reality.
Sins of the Blood. Do I have Sins of the Blood downloaded? Just change the DNS script and suddenly the timeline is different.
Did you see that? Did you see that screen, that pinned picture? Schizodrome?
Yeah, I saw that.
The reply is immediately based schizo and then base glow nigger. He just doubles down on it.
Nothing unusual to see here, fellow RDs. I mean, Mondays.
I too am a
Unspoken.
sleeper.
Yes, I too enjoy this common cultural consensus we share. All right, let me get you Fragments of the Forgotten. Yeah, this is a good information broker character to have. TG. All right, part 1. Screen cap this, the rest. This is up to 5 successes. There we go. You see that last text? Prophecies or premonitions about the future.
Prophecies, premonitions, views. A vague impression. That can't be extrapolated for blueprints from the future, though, except for future tech that the technocracy has.
Yeah, no point from the future.
Yeah.
But because the technocracy would just break the world by doing that. But instead, being able to get their preciously hidden blueprints and information at 50% accuracy, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you can, if your character could hand us the void ship blueprints, and we could build a $20 trillion improved void ship, because in the RD there's a planning phase where you can plan to modify the schematic. You have to build a void ship, but you can modify it. So your character already has this, right?
No, I have a character that has this, but I think that character is garbage. I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get this, and then I'm going to start stacking allies rating so that I can make an information broker character. A proper information broker character. Although, you know what? I could use the old character sheet. Kim Count Wong. You know, why not? Why bother running more games? Let's just salvage that old character. Yeah, he has this. It's a Korean man.
So we will have a. What if you do this a few times to get the void ship blueprints? Can we?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then it's likely we will
You
have.
roll to be able to fill in what information was given to you as a trick by Hal.
Yeah, if you get 5 successes, at least a few times, like at least 3 times, we're likely to get both halves of the schematics.
Yep.
This is just further shit I can corrupt people's normies' minds with whenever I try to explain what we're doing in these games. So then we got this guy who could talk to demons, and he gave us, but the demons can only give you half because the other half is trickery. So he talked to them multiple times so we could get both halves of the blueprints to a spaceship.
Yeah. So I keep talking to demons, and you guys keep making those engineer rolls, so that you can figure out what's the case and what's a lie. And it's reasonable to say that through trial and error, you will eventually be able to figure out what the complete blueprint is.
Well, here's all we have to do is we just have to just give us multiple blueprints, and there will be an overlap and a consistency in it. You don't have to you just look at it and figure out what's the same, because
Yeah,
whatever the
I mean,
lies are will be.
I'm not an engineer though, so I would ask Hal for the blueprint, and you guys would get a blueprint, and you would look at that, right? And then you would kind of circle around with the different blueprints that are gone wrong, and then the way the talk to demons thing as a role play is I would say, well, what about this part of the ship? And what about this part of the ship? And eventually just, you know. It seems like a good way to get those blueprints. Essentially just it makes sense that you would take several down times, right? To shit out those blueprints instead of saying, "Oh, it's one afternoon." It's not fair. Capiche?
Yeah. Still, like, just visualizing the tech priests huddled around the demon, the demon blueprints, trying to figure out what's real in it. It's a good visual in a spaceship.
In a spaceship. Let me take a look at other. Probably gonna get like an anarch thaumaturgy path or something like that as a secondary path. And then just make him an ally stack. He was a Korean guy. It was just a racist Asian stereotype I decided to play because I was going to play it in person with the boomers over there, and so I wanted something as offensive as possible. Ooh, Path of the Shadow World. Summon ghostly warriors to serve as defenders or messengers. As messengers sounds pretty cool.
That's cool and metal, but it's also badass and more efficient to just be an astropath sending everyone messages telepathically.
No, it's high effort instead of just I send ghosts.
How long does it take the ghosts to travel through? Like, can they move at light speed or what?
I assume that they're fast. Let me fucking see what the source is on that.
I mean, it's badass, but you have to think like strategically. You need to be able to tell us like we're about to hit an asteroid or there's a boomer character coming.
You can also cross physically into the underworld. I like the sound of that. At dot 5. Let me see. Sauce? It's not giving me sauce. Cielanic thaumaturgy. What is the source on this?
I know.
Yeah, it's not actually listed anywhere. Oh, I think it's Dark Ages. I think it's a Dark Ages thing. Yeah, I'll make an information broker. And essentially just abuse that to constantly be summoning up information that I'll sell to people.
Is your information broker going to be the astropath?
No, it's a separate character. The character who can talk to demons is a separate character that is brand new. that I made when playing with the boomers.
Sounds close to. Almost sounds close to fictional space pirates about where they have this information broker that tells them what targets to hit. Working for.
Yeah, all Shadowrunning teams need a fixer. Yeah, that and just getting allies. I like that character in there was this I'm sure you've seen it on the history board. The story of this Spanish guy that that tries to become a spy for the Germans.
Yes.
And they say no. So he becomes a spy for the British and they say go spy on the Germans, and then so he goes to the Germans and he's like, "Do you want me to be a spy now? Because now I'm a spy. Now I have information." They say yes, and by the end of it, he was a spy for both sides, had information for both sides, was the guy that made sure that D-Day happened, and more importantly, had a bunch of fake people working for him.
Yeah.
So that he could embezzle the money.
Yeah,
That's an information broker right there. And all he needed was allies. Literally the allies at the time.
the allies.
Mm-hmm.
Allies 5 allies.
It's the most broken ally path you can have.
That's like the time in history where you can write allies 5, half the planet.
And then allies 5 the other half. That's what he was.
It was so much easier to just be allies 5 with everyone.
Well, now all you need is allies 5 technocracy.
Allies 5, the Weaver. Me and the Weaver are really cool.
We're best pals, we correspond.
I was smoking behind the library.
That's a great idea.
Pretty cool guy.
I can have allies 5 Malphaeus. Because that's what I'm going to when I'm trying to get my information, right? I'm going to do a thing with the boomers where I'm going to discuss being an ally of the thing that's of hell, essentially.
Well,
So that
Malpheus
instead
is
of
in
50% accuracy, yeah, Malpheus, wherever the information's actually coming from.
Wait. You're Malpheus. Malpheus is just in the deep umbra. It's not the abyss.
Not yet.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I would probably get allies 5 Abyss. Which I guess sounds strange.
the entire abyss and everything in
it. Literally talking to Satan and then get allies 5 iteration X so that I can become the ultimate double agent of the setting.
Yeah, because demons are actually worm spawn apparently.
Yeah, they're Incarna.
They're not necessarily Incarna, but just because they rebelled against God makes them aligned with the worm.
Well, that's the thing. It's every different setting has its different lore on what they are, but it comes down to they bad.
Basically, Yeah, because it's just because demons are butthurt that they are servants of the worm.
So become a double agent between demons and the Weaver and feed bad information both ways. Or feed good information both ways so that you have good allies.
Be even more of a triple agent, allies 5 god.
And then have true faith on top of that, just a fucking dab. And
Have
crab.
true faith in 3 different things. Have 3 true
True
faiths.
faith. True faith Satan, true faith God, true faith the Weaver.
Yeah. And then you try to use, and like if you ever have to kill yourself, just use all 3 true faiths at the same time and you'll implode into space. This is perfect because we basically have to become the other Illuminati just to survive. We
Yeah.
have not only the other Illuminati, but the other Illuminati that's also on spacecraft just to get the fuck away from Earth. Like
I think I'm gonna start off with Allies 5 Pentex as like my next gift, essentially. Just invest the XP you need for that, so that I can feed them information. Well, that'll be the lore.
yeah, like,
So that I'm best buddies with people on the board of Pentex itself who want my information because I can channel hell.
and if you have to keep going on games, just find someone from Lighthaven, get a robot guard to see if we have those.
Oh yeah, and essentially ask Pentex for information. Say, well, the demons want information in exchange of information, which isn't true. But I start asking for blueprints and shit. Which I can then feed back to you guys, so that when I inevitably piss off Pentex, I can just escape in a spaceship. Yeah, I'll develop that character. I can. You should develop a character who can summon all the materials. So alchemy 5, conjuring 5, and then the Fomor power to be big.
Allegedly, Pajit is going to do it.
I don't think Bashid's gonna do jack shit, but maybe he will.
He does things that's in his interest, so it's in his interest to get those powers. In his interest for us to build a space armada that can mine diamond planets.
You don't need to mine diamond planets when all you need to do is sacrifice people so you can produce 400 metric tons of diamond.
We use the
Instantly.
spaceships to abduct people for blood sacrifice.
Exactly. Or you know what? You need to complete that. You need to complete that supply chain. You need to find a way to get a lot of cheap blood, essentially.
We could literally just getting the first 2,000 people will be tricky. But after we get the first spaceship, then we can literally be like aliens abducting people.
You don't need to abduct people. You can, you know what? I will get allies the blood vans. You know what those are, right? like blood donations.
Oh,
You can buy blood. You can buy a lot of blood.
so I assume like when we have to buy enough blood that's like equal to an entire person's blood in the body, and we have to do that 2,000 times.
Yeah, that would be actually very easy.
Would they sell us that much?
Oh, absolutely. They collect that much blood and much more.
You know what we could get
Apparently
away with?
blood for a hospital, the cost of blood is $150 a pint. Now let's see. How much is a pint?
I didn't feel like
Pint in liters. Exactly half. So let's see. 0.4736. Do the exact math so that we can have an exact price. 0.4736 times 150. It's $320 per liter. Blood. Liters per person. I love Googling this kind of stuff.
Plays well.
Yeah, like
Apparently 1.5 gallons of blood, so 5.5 liters. 5.5 times, what was it, 320? So about $2,000 per person. Pretty good when you're summoning up 478 tons of gold to pay for it.
you know what we could easily get away with? We just need blood. We can just go to Africa and just scoop up African or Chinese or Indians, really.
$2,000 a person, Dag, if you have the right contacts. Well,
Let me see.
you know what? I will get allies 5 progenitors.
Irwin has resources for, and he's currently sitting on $400,000.
Yeah, you see, so my broker character is going to act as a broker. He's going to get allies 3 or 4 progenitors. And he is going to essentially contact the progenitors and say that he needs a couple tons of human blood. And those progenitors are going to know exactly what that's for. And they're going to say, well, it's going to cost this much money and these favors, essentially.
So, you find out how much it costs to get an entire human body's worth of blood. Time?
Yes, $2,000.
Okay, so we need $2,000. We spend $2,000 time 1,000 times. That's $4 million.
That's not much, isn't it?
That's enough that we can't afford it.
Yeah, well, that's...
So
No. Because once you can summon materials, you can summon gold.
like
The whole point of Conjuring 5, Alchemy 5, is that you can summon solid gold.
But the point is, like, with the RD stuff, we don't need to like sell to people, but we're materializing $4 million of gold out of thin air. Like that's not really that much, but we are starting to fuck with the syndicate.
No, you're materializing $450 million of gold out of thin air per person sacrificed, or the equivalent in blood. So you're turning $2,000 into $470 million. Is this lining up in your head?
Yeah, it's just going to be sketchy whenever we have to try to pay them $4 million in gold for blood.
No, not really.
What does that look like? What is a character doing when he does that?
Well, you remember it was the thing where you summon up to your body mass of a material.
But what about when we're selling the gold for the blood?
Oh, just call it a downtime where you're going to sell it to shops and whatever to launder the gold.
Okay. And
You have a character, okay? You have a character who has, I think it was like a 4 Path of Conjuring, and I think it's 4 Path of Alchemy, 4 or 5. It's a lot of gifts already. It's 2 paths up to 4 or 5. That's what you need. And that character can summon up to his body's volume of just about anything. That's why we started talking about foamers the size of elephants and so on. But
okay.
any character can do that. And so a person-sized statue of gold is exactly what you can summon. And that will weigh approximately, I don't remember how much it was, a couple tons of gold. And a ton of gold is $40 million. And that, your person's body size, was 4 blood points. So at least $10 million a blood point. Which you are buying for $200 from the technocracy. I think you can find a way to launder that money. Teleporting around pawn shops around the world. And shit.
So we're going to do a conjuring to make the gold, get the money, to get the 1,000 people of blood, to conjure the materials for the void ship.
Exactly. Once you have enough money and you can buy enough blood, and you have, I don't know, 1 million blood points stored in your hideout, you can effectively create an infinite amount of materials.
And we can use void ships to just abduct black people for the blood.
I know you want to abduct people, but it's entirely unnecessary when you can get tons and tons of frozen blood pretty cheaply. Thanks to the technocracy, because the technocracy has been catering to vampires needing blood for centuries. Why do you think the technocracy invented black people in the first place for?
Abducting people is cool, safe, but if we get the technocrats to because
Build up the conjuring and the alchemy ratings on your character, on whatever character. Probably an engineer character would be the best because he could. I mean, sure, Pajit could do it, but if the engineer who's going to be building the ship has it, then realistically, that character can just summon pieces in his own hands as he's building. So there doesn't need to be a delay of asking Pajit, summon this material of this dimension and do this and do that.
we
just
just
do
need
it
two,
yourself.
right? We just need dot two.
No, I think you need dot 4 to make it permanent.
What does dot two mean by until it's
I'm going to look that up right now. Although, repost the screen caps that you do have.
don't think I have them, but I mean, dot 4 is probably safe to say that we actually materialized the shit.
Yeah. You do need the alchemy path to summon. I like the idea of having alchemy because it's too easy. If you just have 4 dots in conjuring to be able to summon just about anything. Conjuring is supposed to be for items. But if you have alchemy, then you start being able to summon materials.
So, are you turning the conjured material into actual material with alchemy?
Exactly. Like playing Space Engineers or whatever the hell, or Minecraft or whatever the fuck, you literally summon it out of the ether. We using blood points. There we go. I've got alchemy here. I'm gonna just download that cap. And let me find conjuring. There we go. Winnie graciously has already posted these. I'm gonna repost them now. Oh, you're right. I think .3 is actually all you need for Path of Conjuring.
Five greater or less. What is titanium? Actually, what the fuck are we starting from when we conjure material?
From nothing. You spend blood points and it appears.
What is it talking about when we're shifting whatever amount of atomic numbers?
What, an alchemy?
Yeah, like, if, so we have conjured material. What does that mean atomically?
Okay, alchemy is for changing a material that you have. So conjuring is like, I want to summon a piece of plastic, I guess, and it just appears in your hand. Alchemy is for taking that piece of plastic and turning it into gold.
So it's about side.
And see, in a .5, you can literally look at that note storytellers are encouraged part. That's the important piece.
Permanent. Don't need solid.
You get the idea, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you want complex materials, which you will need for making a spaceship, it starts being a little bit too Mary Sue to just be able to summon all the materials. As it says in the note, storytellers are encouraged to apply this. to the principle of using Path of Conjuring, which I posted above. So when you're using Magic of the Smith to summon up the parts of the spaceship as you're making it and putting them into place, having alchemy would allow you essentially to summon up things made of complex materials. So get Alchemy 5, Path of Conjuring 3, and you are legally allowed to spend blood points to summon up anything the size of your body.
Whatever fucking ship we build, there's going to be an entire cargo hold of fucking stuffed in there.
Yeah, you know what? You want to do it that way? Why not?
We like need 2,000 bodies every fucking time like craft something. Or if the technocracy actually gives us so much fucking blood. Like, I don't even know what is 7 blood points in pints?
You don't need to worry about points. A person is 10 blood points. A person is at most 5.5 liters of blood, which means that a blood point is 0.55 liters of blood. Half a liter of blood is a blood point. And half a liter of blood is approximately, it's a bit, 0.55 is a bit more than a pint. So it's like $200 of blood.
I just need to know what this looks like. I can't wrap my head around this.
Okay. My information broker character calls the progenitors and says, I have a good friend of mine who needs to set up a hospital in Africa. And he has a lot of pregnant mothers, and he would like to order 1,000 liters of blood. And they'll say, okay, do you have the money for that? And I'll say yes, and I'll send over the money. And since I have allies 3, they'll send over the blood. I now have stacks of frozen blood in packets. You've played Vampire the Masquerade, the video game?
Yeah.
Yeah, you suck blood out of blood packets. That's exactly what they look like.
But how fucking many? Like, what does this look like when we have enough blood to do endless projects?
It looks like having 1 million of those packets stacked up in a warehouse, frozen. And your engineer literally cracking and sipping those open as he's working.
So here's what we can actually craft. We can literally craft anything. Because we already reached 10, it doesn't change the price of it. We're already at 10 because of utility. It already costs 20 trillion. So we can basically choose whatever size we want, and it doesn't matter. Between model airplane and star. So we can have whatever size ship we want to house that.
Exactly. Because, well, your engineer could summon an infinite amount of materials, but he would have to put them together still. So putting together materials the size of the moon would be a little bit overkill, but he could probably build a spaceship the size of Apollo on his own in a couple months.
Plus, we don't want a city flying around because that means that harbingers and Mary Sue's can teleport onto it and hide on it.
Yeah, and technocracy might object to a floating city because they already have one.
They don't want you to build a Horizon realm that they didn't authenticate.
Exactly.
So let me look at the sizes here, figure out which size. So it's not even going to be a 30 craft, 30 successes needed thing. Because
You know what? This is like it all makes sense and it's all legal, but you need to impress whoever's going to try to veto this with the amount of fat rolls that you're making. Like I was saying, you could just get Conjuring 3, but that would be too cheap. But if you have Conjuring 3 Alchemy 5, then nobody can really object.
yeah. So there actually is a size. It's size 6, and it just is void to ship. That's between aircraft carrier and continent.
Yeah, a bit bigger than an aircraft carrier. That's tasty.
That will that.
Void chip's a bit big.
Yeah, it's between aircraft carrier and continent. Leads me to believe Los Angeles.
Yeah, stick with something the size of the ISS.
Aircraft carrier seems fine to me.
Yeah, just have like a piece of junk floating in space that size. Making it look like junk is the important part. And before the technocracy shoots you down because they see you shooting a rocket from the ground into space.
No, we're the Indian space. Uh, the,
We're going to need someone with a very high obfuscate rating because there is an obfuscate path that lets you um, make people ignore something up to the size of a house. Or
Chimera
no,
Street.
you know what? Here's how you do this. You start off with a tiny vessel, something very small, the size of a satellite, containing your engineer with like oxygen tubes. And your engineer builds it in space.
Yeah, maybe we should. We don't need like the first one to be like the god ship, the Ark to carry out like humanity on from the apocalypse.
Well, the point is, you're never going to be able to launch an arc without everybody in the world seeing that flying across the sky.
Well, we don't need to because it'll just have an Umbra drive and it'll start in Blighthaven and just go to space. We'll just
An
shift
Umbra drive,
dimensions.
you say?
Yeah, I mean that's
Even then, it's kind of asking for trouble. You can achieve the exact same result by having a tiny ship travel to the Umbra or outer space and have your engineer build anything he wants while he's in outer space. Just expand from there.
plus. Um, Khajiit actually has a way to permanently to create a passageway between the Umbra and reality, and Irwin has the ability to draw a sigil anywhere and move between it and take other people.
Well, you know what? Construct a very like. Do you know how houses work in RuneScape?
Yeah,
Well, that's exactly that. You start with one room that you get into space, and then from there you just expand and teleport between your room and the real world. Because it's, a lot more palatable than I teleport a giant spaceship into space. and hope nobody notices.
And that teleporting into space is less noticeable than shooting anything.
Yeah, well, teleporting something small is better than teleporting something big, and the result would be the same because you have sigils to teleport between one and the other.
Well, I don't. What the fuck's going on in the Hyperion realm? Because we actually have two options. We can meet with the Marauders or the Bondi, wherever whatever the fuck is going on in the solar system. Just teleport there.
Extreme bullshit is happening in the solar system that you don't want to be a part of.
We should stay in orbit for
Trust
our
me,
own
trust.
safety.
Yeah, yeah, it would. Yeah, yes. The solar system is mage. You play mage. Reality just breaks. There have been Nefandi out there since the 19th century, causing a lot of trouble, and there has been the technocracy out there doing all sorts of reality broken fuckery. Because everything turns figurative the farther you get away from Earth.
Also the Marauders.
Yeah, because Mars is figuratively the world of forces, and so if you go to Mars as a mage with forces, you can start doing things that are comical. You can, summon up fireballs the size of the entire planet. And while you're on the planet, it makes perfect sense, but anybody outside of it just doesn't see anything. It's just Mars. It just becomes Umbra fuckery. Nothing makes sense. But if you're hiding as space trash out in the belt of space trash, which is actually just a gauntlet. So what you're going to be doing is that you're going to be hiding in the gauntlet composed of technocratic space trash by building, essentially your arc room by room like in RuneScape, but tacking on a bunch of space trash around it so that nobody can find it. Nobody can lawyer against that, and it would be appropriately extremely cool.
Oh. So how? So there's like a million ways to detect what we actually are. I mean, I'm sure you know about EMS signatures.
Yeah, I bet a lot of things give off EMS signatures, in the belt of space trash where all the satellites are.
Well, and then you have to think.
And why would you give off an EMS signature if it's just an arc? If it's just a giant piece of metal that you guys are hiding in?
It's an aircraft carrier-sized warehouse where marauders are building impossible technology.
Yeah, just build shielding so that nobody can detect it from the outside.
I mean, yeah, we could build layer after layer of counter magic to cancel out red radar, I guess.
Yeah, just build layers of material because you can.
Yeah, the technocracy always has. Oh, but we have like super radar that goes through lead and everything, whatever.
We have a super radar. Well, are you going to sift through all of the space trash so that you can see like 3 marauders fucking around the gauntlet I don't think so. That's not how that works.
I mean, I'm sure they care about Marauders building probably like another death laser, like they've probably done 100 times
If it
already.
doesn't get too big. Yeah, Marauders building death lasers is a recurring issue. But I doubt they could fucking find you. I doubt they could find you. If you're hiding in space trash.
If we have the counter
Alternatively-
magic shielding, then that pretty much takes care of the radar.
Yeah.
And then we just
Alternatively, you
have to,
could teleport to the inner Earth, like was originally planned.
yeah, and go to inner Venus.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I mean, yeah, that's unironically safer. Why is the solar system basically hell, but the inside of the planets are fine, relatively?
Because nobody's bothered to write about the inside of the planet. Oh, you mean the surface of the planet is fine?
No, the surfaces of the planets are hell, but if you take one of the hollow Earth paths up to Mars or Venus, then they're perfectly safe inside, relatively speaking.
Because the lore has not talked about how Hollow Earth is vaguely talked about. The lore just mentions that the inner Earth exists, and that's it.
No, did you read? I forget what Christian linked me. I read that book, and it says you can actually walk from the hollow. You can walk into the hollow Earth and walk another path that takes you to the hollow Mars or the hollow Venus. And I think the hollow Venus is supposed to be like Jurassic Park or something. Hollow Mars is like another. It's like Atlantis or something.
Sounds like good news.
I mean, yeah. We could just find the Marauders down there.
Yes, indeed.
And if we have an Umbra drive, we just teleport into there.
Yeah. And that would literally turn into the Matrix.
Yeah, flying through fucking tunnels in a hollow ship.
Pursued by the technocracy.
Pursued literally by those machine sentinels. And then we have to keep fucking pulling over whenever they latch onto our ship and start drilling inside. We start shooting them with like laser guns.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the Hollow Earth, think about how it's been fucking months since those characters got frozen in stasis where I'm still not allowed to use that character.
Oh yeah. I'm saying that Cusco's dead on purpose because it sends the boomers into an uncontrollable rage. It doesn't matter that I've already said it several times, he's dead. No matter. Just he fucked up, he's dead. They just
Refuse to accept
they just
it.
can't get over they can't get over the fact that I would not grovel to save the character. They're like, no, grovel. tell me all the things that you're going to do that are so high effort to save your character. And I'm just, no, he's dead. He dead. It's over. He got caught because he teleported into an elevator, and now he's dead. I like how their logic broke too. It's you didn't get caught killing the president. You got caught teleporting into an elevator. Enemy technocracy 5. You're dead. It's okay. They killed the character. Cusco had 2 games under his belt, 2 gifts.
Killed the president and then quit.
Killed the president, and then, yeah, essentially quit. Essentially lives in extreme hiding forever. He can't play games. And I think he has Genius Loci 2 and Teleportation 2. Yeah, they're dead. I don't know, maybe you liked your character, the Core Knight.
Well, I legitimately like that character and what he went through, but I don't give a shit. I don't want to do anything because that character is obviously dead. Like if you're just gonna say I have enemy 5 worthy enough, and like they would just shoot me with like an orbital ion cannon, and I'm like, okay, he's dead then.
Enemy 5 Technocracy is the antediluvian stepping out of his tomb, breaking reality. They shoot a nuke at you. That's what 5 is, but you know what? They want a sacrificial lamb? Go ahead. Sacrifice the 2 characters so that you can show who's big boss around, who's big dog. And fuck it, whatever, they're dead. Cusco was a cheese machine anyways. He had every single merit you could have to break rolls. And was about to get Path the Focused Mind to keep decreasing the rolls on everything. And I was going to get him Jack of all trades eventually so that he could just start making every roll. But as a concept, it's not that good. It's kind of boring. Characters die.
Yeah, if they ask me about that, I would say, oh, that fucking character that I stopped playing like a year ago. Whose specialty was he could punch things and not even do damage.
Yeah, melee specialization characters are for a bygone age.
Yeah, because then you just go up against a boomer character who just has Dex 5, Firearms 5, and about 20 firearms related gifts that they approved for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the gun fetishism is pretty high with them. Which is why you show up in your astral form. They shoot through you, and then you kill them with your mind. And then they go back into torpor for a couple years. Guns are such an American thing, too. A lot of people around here, if they wanted to kill someone, they wouldn't think gun. They'd just run them over.
If they're here, might as well use them for your classmates.
Kill your classmates. All the other kids with the bumped up kicks. Kill your coworkers.
Gun fetishization is just a part of the reason people get the bright idea to kill their peers. Well, I heard that guns are good. Really, really good. Solving problems.
I see it in movies all the time. I did a bit of reading about that Cold War assassin that just had the what do they call it? The Bulgarian umbrella or something like that. It's just an umbrella with an air gun inside, essentially, that shot tiny pellets of poison, of ricin, to people's legs. And people would feel a sting and they would be like, oh, something stung me. And they would feel it on their leg. And then they would look around because they were in broad daylight, in the middle of a city. And just wonder and be like, oh, that's odd. And go home. And of course, the pellet was designed to have like a coating that kind of dissolved after a couple minutes and released the ricin. The person died. And apparently, this umbrella assassin just dabbed on so many people in London that they started putting two and two together. And one day, he assassinated a guy and spilled his spaghetti and dropped the umbrella in front of the guy he had just shot with the umbrella air gun. And that guy didn't even put two and two together. He didn't even see that umbrella drop and was like, oh, that guy shot me with that. No. He just remembered his face. And later, when the Secret Service showed up and they were like, how did this happen to you? He was like, well, now I remember the face of the guy who dropped the umbrella right in front of me. And they were like, oh, yeah, that's the guy we're looking for. And that's how they found him. Nothing happened to him, of course. He just went back to the Soviet Union. Now, that is an efficient way of killing people. With poison. Like the way they've always been doing since the Middle Ages. Instead of pulling a gun out at a bus stop, emptying it into a guy and running for it. Jews rubbed plutonium into Arafat's headband so that he would get brain cancer eventually. They're tactful ways of killing people, is all I'm saying. Have some class. Have some class.
Just
Just-
depends. Because in America, it's usually about doing it as violently and publicly seen as possible to violently splatter your brains everywhere.
Yeah, I understand that dying brutally, violently, publicly is a big part of it. But then again, if you're going to do that, why get a gun? Why not just get a piece of artillery? That's immediately what comes to mind. Oh, I want to engage the police and essentially die in an all-out gunfight. Just take the extra step to buy yourself a piece of artillery. It's not that difficult to find. There are definitely a lot of people who manage to either make those recreationally or have actual anti-tank guns. And once you have an anti-tank gun, you're a party rocker. Instead of just having a handgun that's going to jam after 3 shots.
Most people
But
stupid.
yeah, they're deep in consensus. When I read it on those Indians that use the poison frogs, what they would do is that they would just they would do, they wouldn't even collect the poison. They would just get the frog, take the poison dart, and rub them lightly against the frog, right? So that the white stuff on the frog's back would kind of deposit around the dart. And that's it. They were good for an entire year. And when they shot it at an animal, and that's the reason they used the poison, it's so potent that it's not the animal dies. It's the animal freezes because every muscle in its body freezes immediately on contact with the dart so that they can shoot the monkey or shoot the deer or whatever, and it stops running. It just stops, stands still, so that the Indian can walk over, pick up the animal, and then bring it home so that it can eat it after judicious removal of the blow dart, of course. That is remarkably efficient. In fact, you could poke someone at a bus stop while they're sitting down, on the tip of a needle, through their clothes. Before they could yell, every muscle in their body will have stopped. Not just stopped, they will be paralyzed, and they'll be sitting there exactly as they've been sitting for the next 8 hours. Cold War spies. They were using ricin with air pumps hidden inside of umbrellas. That's wonderful. It's quite nice, but you can do even better. You can do even better. The CIA reportedly uses for its heart attack gun chemical compound. I forget what it's called, but it is like one of the most dangerous poisons known to the world. And when you look into it, they don't even deny the heart attack gun. And there was an incident where the U.S. Army decided to get rid of all stockpiles of this specific poison that you could. Any contact gives you a heart attack. Any contact. They can shoot it into you. You have a heart attack. They can vaporize it into the air. You have a heart attack. They could put a patch on you, and it contacts with your skin. You have a heart attack. And the U.S. Army, when they had these stockpiles of this stuff, they told everyone that they got rid of it, and then the CIA started using it. Not just using it subtly. They started using it in widespread applications in South America, and then the International Board for Biological Weapons was like, "What the fuck, guys?" And we're like, "Oh, we're the CIA. We get to do whatever the fuck we want. Get the fuck out of the way of our way. If you have a problem with biological weapons, how about you go look at the U.S. Army and see how they have none of those?" So what I'm saying is that the heart attack gun, that's a wonderful, beautiful poison that they're using that is so incredibly potent that something like the heart attack gun can exist. The principle of the heart attack gun is that it shoots a pellet that is smaller than the pores in your skin. It reportedly leaves a red dot that you need a microscope to look at. And the person has a heart attack right then and there.
I thought it was done with like waves or something.
No. No, it's a microscopic pellet, and just the microgram of poison in there is enough to immediately give your heart um, an inability to connect with the nerves in your brain and stop. Coroners can't find it. They can't find it. No trace of it. That's how wonderful that poison is. And spooks have it. The CIA can literally kill anybody, anywhere, anytime with complete impunity. And I assume the only reason they're not mass murdering people is because mass murder would be noticeable. So they just kill. They probably have like a budget, a limit, 10,000 people a year or something like that. And so within the bureaucracy of the CIA, if you want someone dead, like you apply to the heart attack list. And if your guy makes it to top 10,000 on the wait list, then some guy somewhere in the world is just going to wait for the guy to be like doing some physical activity and then just shoot him with a heart attack gun. He dies, and maybe one person, his entourage, and be like, the CIA killed him. But it's not going to disturb consensus. That's the world we live in. That is the world we live in. That's the world of terror. And it makes guns look like literally like throwing stones at people to try to kill them. That's how barbaric it is compared to what the technocrats are doing. Oh, and the fun part is that poison, you can synthesize it. Well, some things you can't synthesize. It's too complicated. But that you can. There were worries, People are worried. Ooh, what if someone decides to synthesize it, but nobody's tried so far? I guess that's a good thing because people would start having heart attacks. Look up the name of the poison. And the rainforest frogs, for self-defense, is a perfect thing. Someone breaks into your house or someone is threatening you in any way, you shoot them with a bullet that's coated with a poison that will immediately stop every muscle in their body. Wonderful, right? Instead of shooting them and having the other person run around for a full minute before their body decompresses. Yeah, the Bulgarian umbrella.
Just ricin?
Oh, no, the poison the CIA uses is definitely not ricin. I'm trying to look for it now. It is a very different, very specialized poison. But the poison that that the Soviets shot people with, yes, was ricin.
CIA poison is better than the dark.
Oh yes, they have a poison that's much better than what the dart frog does.
Poison.
I'll try to find it.
Find it before.
Yes, I've already read the Wikipedia article.
I love found a CIA project. CIA just sends memos to each other asking, can we get control of an individual to the point where he is forbidding against his will, against the fundamental laws of nature, self-preservation.
Gotta love the alphabet boys.
We do things against the fundamental laws of nature. Of course, in that project they're talking about, discovered best. One record states an agent was on LSD for 77 days. Yeah, it's in 1952. This isn't even MK Ultra. This is Project Artichoke. 1952, LSD was increasingly given to unknowing CIA agents to determine the drug's effects on unsuspecting people. Uh, the mid 20th century, you weren't even safe in the CIA. Kept testing drugs on you.
Also, I had to find, one time they wanted me to find out if there was such a thing as a poison that was undetectable, especially one that seemed to mimic a heart attack, that would kill someone, but it would appear that they had a heart attack. I did find such a thing.
Does this pistol fire the dart? Yes, it does, Mr. Chairman, and a special one was developed which
Found it.
potentially would be able to enter the target without perception.
The poison was frozen
Copy
into
the
some sort
link.
of dart, and then it was shot at
Yeah,
very
they've
high
been
speed
doing
into the
everything.
person. So when it
Technocracy has
reached
been
the
doing
person, it
everything
would
for the
melt
sake of
inside
knowledge.
them,
All of it.
and the only thing would be like one little tiny red dot on their body, which was hard to detect. They wouldn't be
No
able
ethical
to do
limits
anything with that.
whatsoever. Yeah, and the military interest part, you can read about how they decided to keep the poison despite the president himself telling them this to get rid of it.
This the poison. It says that it's paralytic shellfish. I read that. I thought that was blowfish, pufferfish.
Yeah, it's you can get it off of blowfish or pufferfish. I think that's the same thing.
Had an injector for the side of a silver dollar.
Mm-hmm.
All the images of the heart attack gun that you see looks like an actual gun. Then you read into it that they put it inside of coins.
Yeah, those images of the actual gun is just to make it less vulgar.
If they Google heart attack gun and it brings up a picture, not gonna understand it.
The schizos are gonna have a fucking field day, running away from people taking their change out.
And like, I don't know if you could throw the coin at someone, or if it's supposed to be used defensively, where this spy plane pilot, he was just
They
supposed to
shoot it out
use.
of the side of the coin. Inside the coin is a compressed air firing chamber that essentially pops a tiny pellet out of the side of the quarter that presumably can penetrate skin and clothing. That's at least what I understand it to be. I am imagining all this.
I assumed it would be like put it against someone's skin, and push on its X. Like you just kind of have to lightly smack it
Yeah,
on someone.
this seems like the slightest interaction with someone's skin is enough. Yeah, step-by-step guide on how to make it in biosynthesis. Oh, I love how it's always the case. With a helpful drawing.
Like this.
I like how there's mention of aerosolizing it. Because of course you can gas people with it.
Fucking kind of look.
An insta-kill gas. I can see spooks wanting to do that. They just put a device in someone's home that releases gas, and the person just falls dead over.
Now this would be the fucking cerebral killings. Killers.
Yeah, the CIA had the idea. It's probably the best idea you can have.
So what's the first chemical?
The biosynthesis is about how the animal produces it in its own body. What they do is that they just get shellfish and extract it from it, or pufferfish.
I didn't see puffer. Oh, there it is. Found in 12 puffer, one freshwater fish. Still, however, the source of it exists. The dinoflagellate Pyrodinium common source of STX found in Florida is in America.
Oh, interesting. Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation will keep someone alive.
Someone who hasn't been gassed around.
Yeah, there are definitely people who have been gassed by this.
Haven't been gassed in the area can be your oxygen babysitter.
Yeah, everyone dies. Also, that mention of how it's very toxic to guinea pigs. Yeah, how would you find that out if you're not gassing people in their own homes and the pets die and you're like, oh, that worked well on the pets? And I think this is what the fugu fish produces. And I think it's how they extract it. They take the fugu fish's poison pouch. Let me verify that. Fugu fish. Yes. Google. Sexy. Saxy toxin, really? It's called sexy toxin. Never actually said that out loud. Sexy toxin.
The fuck?
Looks like pufferfish is where it's at.
Yeah, because uh, the life form, the Bahamas has it. Fucking area. Thing that small, you just fucking hard heavily. Doesn't even now known common major cause paralytic shellfish poisoning, especially, and causes toxicity. Does mention there's a microscopic life form that's like algae, has the deadliest poison in the world. Both the Gulf of Mexico and Southeast.
The ovaries of the Indian River Lagoon pufferfish. Yeah, you see the specified exact quantity per 100 gram. Someone's been harvesting from Indian River Lagoon pufferfish and measuring the output. Because I'm reading this article, and this article's been written by a spook. Yeah, apparently the Indian River Lagoon is from Florida. So you could go to Florida, get the pufferfish, kill the pufferfish, and carefully find their ovaries. How much is 22,000 micrograms? Yeah, and extract it from that. Ah, Florida. Pretty cool, huh? CIA. They never disappoint.
And you just have to think Chinese spooks.
Well, you can't do better than this. But Chinese spooks are most certainly exactly up to this.
Except they're legally allowed.
Except they're legally allowed and killing millions of people. Maybe not millions, but tens of thousands at least. Indian River Lagoon. Let's Google this. Pufferfish. Oh, look at that. Floridians are having fun eating these pufferfish.
That's not crazy, like, you know, pufferfish or bean.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be pretty stupid considering.
Japs fucking out of
Mm-hmm.
specifically the food.
Yeah, I know. They love it. They love it.
If it's good.
Oh, it probably is. It's probably very good. Would I eat a fish that, if badly prepared, instantly gives me a heart attack? No, I probably wouldn't do that. Floridians
That's-
would.
Japanese figured out, they pretty much figured out its poison content, popping it up. Obviously, ovary one is
Yeah, you just have to go down to Florida, find whoever's cooking up these puffer fish, and be like, okay, do you have the entrails? And they're gonna say, I know what you're trying to do. And I say, I know you don't care. Here's a couple $1,000. Give me the ovaries.
being actually requested offer fish over, knowing exactly what still selling it.
Yeah, well,
That's fucking.
you have him you have him chop up your puffer fish, and then you have him chop up the ovaries, and you have him give them to you, in a little like container. And then, of course, with gloves on, you take one out and you flick one at his face. He dies on the spot.
Yeah, like we have beggars, and crazy people up here will rush you in the parking lot, trying to sell you a watch out of the back of their van. But in Florida, I bet you can find a guy selling some of the most lethal
Puffer fish
poison,
entrails.
selling puffer fish ovary specifically out of the back of his van is just like his hobo hustle. Like outside of in the parking lot of Walmart, just selling fucking puffer fish poison. Telling people how good.
Let's see, what's the lethal dose of saxitoxin? Exactly. I'm gonna open everything up. Boom, 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 and we're going to see what the lethal dose is. LD.
Stupid looking fish.
Yeah. You you want to possibly instantly get a heart attack so that you can try a piece of fish?
An actual sushi chef, man.
Oh, you mean go to Japan and eat fugu? I would trust the Japanese to prepare my food.
I won't
I should
try.
not
I won't
trust the
try to make it
Floridians.
myself. Trust some fuck to make it. Bet you could go to a sushi bar in Florida, find a Cuban sushi chef.
Apparently, 0.5 milligram of cytotoxin is the lethal dose for humans. 0.5 milligram. Now, those ovaries Let's finish Googling this. Microgram.
Yeah, that's hillside.
No, that's an eighth of the size of a grain of sand. The article specifically states it. Half a milligram. Wait, am I saying that right? Milligram or microgram?
And
Milligram.
like it's going off of
For 100 kilogram human. Apparently. I like how they immediately assume the person is 100 kilograms. Just, overkill. Why not? But injection is 1/10 of that dose. All right, you get the idea. How would you go about just try to put in someone's food? That seems like the big brain way to do it.
powder it up, put it in size. They have to ingest it, or is it contact?
Oral. If they eat it, it's half a milligram as a lethal dose.
Has to be by ingestion. Just sprinkle it in your mouth and
That's the idea. They swallow it essentially. Probably just contact with the sides of their mouth is enough. It's 10 times the intravenous dose. It would probably be better if they eat it though. So I'd say 23, 0.57. It's exactly 40. Yeah, so 2.5 grams of crushed ovary will kill someone. It's a tiny amount. I assume that's that if you take the ovaries, you dry that stuff, you powder it. You could try to get the biological substance out. So essentially, yeah, you could refine it further down to like half gram, quarter gram. You could find ways to extract the poison from the organic mass, is what I'm saying. Probably wouldn't be too hard. Yeah, that eats away all the organic material. And refine it that way. It's probably how the CIA does it. But I won't presume to know what the fuck the CIA does. Yeah, it's extremely potent. Or if you get considerable amounts of it, which, considering that you would have, so let's do the math on that. You get 23 milligrams per 100 grams of ovaries. Those ovaries are tiny. Those pufferfish ovaries. You'd probably be lucky to get 1 gram of ovaries per fish. But those rednecks, they chop up a lot of pufferfish. So you could probably get a kilo of the stuff if you were persistent. And a kilo of the stuff, of course, would be 23 grams. 23 grams aerosolized. $23 divided by... Yeah. It's essentially 4 kilometers. You could gas about 4 kilometers with that much poison if you released it into the air. You would probably want a smaller area, so like a kilometer or 100 meters, to release that gas in. People would breathe that in and be paralyzed, essentially, can't breathe. Pass out within 10 seconds. It's a merciful death. They breathe it in. Their entire body's paralyzed, so I assume if they don't immediately pass out, they will within 10 seconds. And then from there, they're just dead. Well, if they don't get oxygen. How's that for a house game?
Getting the poison.
I think the characters would have a field day of, just going down to Florida. Finding... The GM could probably just tell you that you find the local pufferfish delicacy restaurant or whatever the fuck, wherever they serve it, and just bribe a guy in the kitchen to get them the entrails and get a couple kilos of pufferfish entrails and shuffle through those to get the ovaries. And once they get the ovaries, refine the poison from it. And from there, create a gas. Aerosolizing it probably wouldn't be very hard. You would just have to put in water vapor. And people would just drop dead. I'm sure the CIA's done it. I'm sure the CIA's done it. And then that's it. Using guns. Imagine using guns. Imagine resorting to guns. It's literally the sleeper gang member with his sideways aimed piece, just dumping ammo downrange at some guy he wants dead, versus the awakened spook who just leaves a whipped cream capsule, like one of those gas capsules, in your kitchen, steps out of your house and just presses a button, and everyone in your house instantly just has a heart attack, and the police can't fucking tell why.
Nice to see something that can actually be gas.
Gas, gas, gas. You could probably turn the frog poison into gas, but you would need a lot more of it. The thing about this poison is that you don't need a lot of it. You need, in fact, remarkably small amounts of it. 1/8 of a grain of sand is the oral dose. 1/10 of that is the intravenous dose. Which is why they fire pellets from their heart attack gun, which are, well, they have to be 1/80th of the size of a grain of sand, but I'm sure they make it essentially as small as you can fire something. You could find ways to fire it at people, to shoot it at people without being seen. CIA has their fancy heart attack gun, but you'll never be able to make that. That's firing something that's going to be, let's see, 0.5 milligram, 5% of a milligram, 5-6% of a milligram. 1/80th the size of a grain of sand. You're not going to create a machine that can fire that reliably. What you can do though is what can you do? The gas seems a lot of fun. Remote control mosquitoes delivering doses of poison. The CIA really is wondrous, isn't it? A mosquito shows up and you have a heart attack. That is a world of terror. How would you go about? Shooting tiny pellets seems to be the efficient solution here. I like the idea of, yeah, that would be good. If you could have a cat or a dog deliver it, that would already be a step up. That would probably be easier. Or a bird. A bird would be fun. like putting it on their talons or their claws or whatever. Although that animal's going to end up dead when it inevitably licks its own claws. Hmm. Yeah, the tiny pellet gun is an interesting idea. Let's see what Google has to say about tiny pellet guns. Tiny pellet gun. Yeah, it's either food or tiny guns. There's no real.
The Mexican state of Sinaloa erupted into violence Thursday as police captured and then released the son of drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The failed raid has called into question the Mexican government's ability to contain drug violence.
Tiny
Schiff
BBs, but
explores what
still
this says about the
quite
capabilities of
visible.
the United States' top ally in the fight against illegal narcotics.
The descent into chaos played out on social media. A phalanx of Mexican security forces deployed to a neighborhood controlled by the powerful.
You could get that one guy who was a character who's a gunsmith to design something comically small.
Business built by his father, known as El Chapo, Mexico's most infamous drug lord, now in a U.S. prison. But then the cartel called in the cavalry, with music blaring and phones
Smith.
Gunmen with machine guns and rocket-propelled
Something
grenades
size of
they deployed a 50
a finger digit.
heavy. It's attached to the back of a truck.
There.
Smaller even. Smaller. It doesn't even have to use compressed air, although at that point, it's not even a cartridge you're firing, so yeah, compressed air. The pellet is at most 1/8 of the sand of the size of a pellet of sand. You know, I'm sure through trial and error you could actually design a gun that way.
Daddy, can we get up? She asks. No, my love, he says. This level of violence is stunning, even in a country known for violence. And it's never happened in this city. Here in the capital of Sinaloa State, the Sinaloa cartel, long led by El Chapo, even went on the run.
Otherwise, getting away to stab at someone's heels would be fun.
And as residents search for safety, and the
But of course, they would immediately die right next to you if you were the one stabbing them, so not amazing. Putting some distance between you and them while they're having their heart attack is a good idea. Because, you know, you can't go through life being next to someone having a heart attack every other week. Tiniest, smallest gun. Let's see what the smallest, absolute smallest thing that people create. Oh, look at that. A company called Swiss Minigun that produces, you guessed it, miniguns, miniature revolvers. It's about the size of your thumb, the entire thumb. It's not bad. I like that. See what Google has to say about this company.
A Swiss executive have hard.
Yeah, it looks like the Swiss have created their own tiny little gun for executing people with poison pellets. It sounds like a firecracker going off, though. You could probably put a silencer on this thing. Look it up. It's just called Swiss minigun. That's it. It's all over YouTube. How entertaining. It's the size of a quarter. The slow motion guys have a video. Fantastic. I haven't seen a video of theirs in like 20 years, but I like the idea of reconverting these guns, putting a fat silencer on it. And then putting it inside like an umbrella or something.
Somebody did.
It's the size of someone's finger. Yeah, this is a proper house games idea. Of course, you have to find a way to make that gun almost impossible to hear, but considering the size of it and that it sounds like a small firecracker going off, you can silence that. It looks strong enough to pierce most clothing. It could probably break a window too. Apparently, it cost $5,000. I wouldn't be surprised though. It's a proper house games weapon.
What would that be? Goal 2?
I don't even think they were legal. I think you can just buy this thing outright. And it looks like there are other people who make this stuff too. Interesting. There are people shilling for other people who are making this stuff. Let's see. Copy the link. Copy. Take a look at this.
Bucks.
No. The website's. Use your brain. The single pin fire gun costs $75. And I think it'd probably fire a pellet. With enough velocity to kill someone. What you would do is you'd probably take that tiny bullet that it fires and bore out the tip, replace the tip with poison. Is what I would do. I wonder what their smallest gun is.
What poisons?
Yeah, you need the CIA shit. You could probably get the frog shit to work. You could yeah. You could probably get the frog shit to work. But the CIA stuff is remarkable. So what's their most expensive product? I want to see what that is. Their catalog doesn't even work. Doesn't sort shit. The filters don't work. Whatever.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
It's yeah, that is, and you could probably remove the stock too. You could probably remove the stock and conceal that in some other item. Inside of a phone, probably. Yeah. You could remove the stock off that gun. The single fire gun, I like that one. Get the link for this. Whee! Open in Firefox and then give me the link. This one. And it's a proper pirate's pistol, too. It's the I'm losing a card. That card's pirate pistol. Let me ping Jeff. He's going to want to buy one of those. $87 of them have been sold in the world. It's not a lot. It's very nice. I like it. You can remove those wooden parts on the side and you can conceal the entire thing in what the plastic shell of a smartphone is, and probably also create some kind of silencer. That would be entirely possible. It'd probably still sound like a firecracker going off. Instead of probably sound more like a very elegant gun. There's the size of his. Yeah, it is minuscule. It is absolutely minuscule. It would easily fit inside of the average smartphone. And you could create a homemade DIY silencer, and a large one at that. And you could make it so that as you fire, that's good. Create like something that looks like a smartphone. So you have the component that's the tiny gun with the silencer inside of it, and just have a button on the side that you can fire it with, like what your I'm looking at my cell phone right now. What your button for your volume or whatever would be. Maybe pressing both volume buttons at the side. You have an electric trigger, it shoots the gun. It's still going to make, it's not going to make a firecracker sound if you have a proper silencer that's, 5 or 6 times the size of the gun already. But it is going to sound like a poo. It's going to make a sound. It's going to make a sound. Might it's not going to startle people. It's not going to be that loud. People are going to notice. So you put like a fake ring. Yeah, you have your phone ring essentially. Put a ringtone in there like they have for cars. You press one button, your phone starts ringing, and you get it like an annoying ringing sound. Like a techno track that has the recorded sound shooting the concealed gun makes as a part of it. Like a boom, 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 or something like that, like music. And then when you fire the gun, it's just going to sound like it's part of the ringtone. Magic, magic. No. And all the police can say is, so what happened? Oh, there was a guy, his phone rang, and then the other person died. How far away was the guy standing? Oh, 10 or 15 feet. You could probably be standing even farther away. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. If you can completely get rid of the sound, then you're golden. You're assassinating people. It's over for them. You could, yeah, essentially. Anything you shoot is going to make any kind of sound, even especially air compressed guns. Compressed air makes a dreadful sound. It sounds like a clack. when you shoot it, and I think powder would be more efficient. Sure, powder makes the firecracker sound, but again, if you conceal that inside of a smartphone, which has all the features you could ever want for concealing sound, diminishing sound, you could probably go from something that's 50 decibel to 20 decibel, and then conceal that with a ringing phone. And catch the person you're trying to CIA when they're sitting down, right? So that the pellet's going to hit them like wherever, it doesn't matter. It's probably going to pierce clothing. And they're going to be paralyzed. Maybe they're going to jump a little. And then they're going to be paralyzed. No screaming for help, no panicking, no nothing. Just complete paralysis. Which means that you, who's standing 20 feet away, can move on with your day and pretend that the only thing you did was walk by this person who's in public. There's virtually nothing the police can do to you, or even suspect you of. Even a camera is not going to get anything out of you. And that's why the CIA invented this method. How eccentric.
Food and go to sleep.
No, I need to go move on with my day. It has, after all, been 11 hours of chatting.
Yes.